silent theater of consciousness, a singular marvel unfolds. Consider the human brain, a 3-pound universe of intricate pathways and electrical whispers. And within this extraordinary organ, a phenomenon occurs that, as far as we can tell, is unique on this vibrant earth. The brain, in its quest for understanding, turns its analytical gaze inward. The observer becomes the observed. The brain analyzes itself. It is a profound recursion, a loop of awareness that grants us the startling ability to become conscious of our own existence. We are not merely adrift in the cosmos. We know we are adrift. But this awareness is not a placid lake of knowing. It is a restless ocean. For the human brain, existing is not enough. It is possessed by an insatiable, almost sacred drive to understand why. Why are we here? Why is there something rather than nothing? Why this intricate dance of life and cosmic dust? This single, persistent question, why, is the chisel that sculpts the contours of human experience, setting us apart from all other known species on our planet. It is the first word that truly ignites our intellect as children, and the last echo that often lingers in our minds as we contemplate the vast unknown. But what if this defining characteristic, this engine of our progress and the wellspring of our deepest thoughts, is also an architect of our struggle? What if our relentless pursuit of why inadvertently veils the very happiness we seek? This is the human paradox, a journey into the heart of our own brilliant, bewildering minds. The symphony of human inquiry begins with a single, tentative note. Why? Watch a child, their eyes wide with the fresh wonder of a world yet unmapped. Why is the sky blue? Why do the leaves fall? Why do things have to end? These are not mere requests for data. They are the first stirrings of a profound intellectual and spiritual hunger. Their favorite word, it often seems, is this potent 3-letter interrogative. Our parents, our teachers, society itself offer explanations. They pour forth the accumulated knowledge of generations, scientific principles, cultural narratives, philosophical frameworks. And we absorb, we learn, we build our understanding of the world. Yet, even as we gather these answers, the spirit of our original question often remains restless, fundamentally untamed. The initial why gives birth to a cascade of deeper, more intricate whys. Each answer received is like opening a door to a hallway filled with more doors. This relentless questioning is not a flaw. It is the very engine of our cognitive and spiritual evolution. It is the why that propelled our ancestors to master fire, to chart the stars, to build civilizations. It is the why that fuels the scientist in the laboratory, patiently unraveling the secrets of a cell. It is the why that inspires the artist to splash color onto a canvas, attempting to give form to the formless emotions that stir within. It is the why that drives the philosopher to construct intricate edifices of thought, seeking patterns of meaning in the apparent chaos of existence. Our entire history, our cultures, our technological marvels, and our deepest artistic expressions are monuments to this unceasing human quest to understand why. But within this magnificent drive lies a subtle challenge. The brain, this self-aware marvel, finds itself in a peculiar predicament. It is conscious enough to formulate the most profound questions, to gaze into the abyss of the unknown and ask, why me? Why this awareness? Yet, it often finds itself not conscious enough, or perhaps not equipped enough, to unearth all the definitive, soul-satisfying answers it craves. It's like being given a key to a lock that constantly changes its shape. This dissonance, this gap between the power of our inquiry and the elusiveness of ultimate answers, is where the first shadows of discontent can begin to creep in. And so, the human mind, in its relentless pursuit, can find itself wandering into a labyrinth of its own making. A labyrinth of unanswered questions, of incomplete theories, of existential uncertainties. It is a space where the echoes of why reverberate endlessly, where each turn reveals not an exit, but a new corridor of inquiry, often more complex than the last. The brain, in its magnificent capacity for self-reflection, can feel taunted by this perpetual cycle. It's a dance on the edge of what it can comprehend. Pause, pause, pause. This is the infinite madness hinted at by thinkers and poets throughout the ages, not a madness of derangement, but the overwhelming, dizzying awareness of infinite regression. Why this universe? And if there was a cause, why that cause? And so on ad infinitum. The mind, designed to seek patterns and resolutions, grapples with a reality that seems to offer endless horizons of mystery. It's like trying to find the edge of a circle. This internal state, this wrestling with the imponderable, can manifest in myriad ways. For some, it is a quiet hum of anxiety beneath the surface of daily life. For others, it can become a more pronounced existential dread, a feeling of being unmoored in a vast, indifferent cosmos. We crave closure, neat narratives, definitive answers that tie up all the loose ends of existence. Yet, the universe, in its breathtaking complexity and inherent ambiguity, often resists such simplistic resolutions. Consider the unique nature of this struggle. An animal lives, driven by instinct, by the present moment. A deer in the forest does not pause to ponder the metaphysical implications of its dearness. It simply is. But humans, we carry the burden and the glory of self-awareness. We don't just live, we question our living. We analyze our thoughts, critique our emotions, and yearn for a grand unifying theory of everything, including ourselves. The danger lies in how the brain responds to this inherent incompleteness. Sometimes, in its frustration, in its desperate need for answers, it only knows how to dig itself deeper into the labyrinth. It convinces itself that just one more question, one more theory, one more piece of information will unlock the final chamber and reveal the ultimate truth. Each new piece of knowledge, while valuable, can also unveil a dozen new questions, each more profound, each leading further into the intricate maze of understanding. The horizon of knowledge expands as we approach it, revealing an even vaster unknown stretching out before us. So, what is our recourse when faced with this magnificent, maddening internal landscape? Do we follow our brain unquestioningly into its potentially infinite hole of inquiry, into this madness of unending questions? The answer, like so much in life, is nuanced. A resounding yes and a cautious no. For the word why, this emblem of our humanity, is a formidable double-edged sword. On one side, this blade is the very instrument of progress, of enlightenment, of compassion. To disregard our inquisitive nature, to silence the why within us, would be to choose a life of stagnation, a wasted existence. It would mean turning our backs on the very quality that has allowed us to alleviate suffering, to create beauty, to understand the intricate workings of the cosmos, and to strive for a more just and equitable world. Imagine a history devoid of the why. There would be no scientific breakthroughs, no artistic revolutions, no philosophical insights, no social reforms. The drive to question why things are the way they are and how they could be better is the sacred fire that illuminates the path to human betterment. It allows us to challenge assumptions, to innovate, to solve problems, and to deepen our collective wisdom. This edge of the sword is vital, essential for our survival and our flourishing. Carves pathways to understanding, to healing, to growth. But wielded without wisdom, or if we grasp it too tightly by the wrong end, the other edge of this sword can wound us deeply. When we identify too completely with this infinite inquest, when our sense of self becomes entirely enmeshed with the pursuit of answers that may never fully arrive, we risk profound and constant dissatisfaction. This side of the sword cuts away at our ability to experience peace, to find contentment in the present moment. If our well-being becomes wholly dependent on having all the whys neatly answered, we are setting ourselves up for a life of perpetual restlessness. We become like prospectors endlessly sifting through sand, convinced the ultimate gold nugget is in the next pan. Always the next, forever unable to appreciate the subtle glitter already in our hands. This relentless chase restrains us from ever truly stopping, breathing, and enjoying the simple, profound miracle of our individual lives unfolding. Right here, right now. It's the paradox of a mind so focused on deconstructing life that it forgets to live it. Herein lies the crux of our challenge and our greatest opportunity: to learn the delicate, dynamic art of balance. We must not sever ourselves from our questioning mind, for it is an intrinsic part of our magnificent human design. nor should we allow it to become an unrelenting tyrant, dictating our every mood and robbing us of our innate capacity for joy. The path forward is not one of exclusion, but of integration. It is the yes and no whispered in the original quandary. Yes, we ask. Yes, we explore. Yes, we seek to understand. And no, we do not tether our entire happiness to the arrival of every answer. This balance is a dance, a conscious choreography between our intellect and our being. It involves, on one hand, honoring and even celebrating our inquisitive nature. We must give it space to roam, to explore, to challenge, and to learn. We must continue to ask why, with courage and with rigor, for this is how we grow, individually and collectively. Simultaneously, and with equal dedication, we must cultivate the ability to live happily, to experience profound contentment, without always possessing all the answers. This is the art of presence, the practice of anchoring ourselves in the immediacy of our current experience. It is the wisdom of mindfulness, of noticing the gentle rhythm of our breath, the warmth of the sun on our skin, the taste of food, the connection with another human being, all the vibrant realities that exist independently of our intellectual grappling. It is the cultivation of gratitude for what is, rather than a perpetual pining for what isn't yet understood or attained. The aim is to find joy not just in the hypothetical destination of complete understanding, a destination that may forever recede like a mirage, but in the very process of inquiry itself. We can learn to love the questions themselves, to embrace the journey of exploration with a light heart, rather than a desperate need. This isn't about choosing the path of the intellect or the path of the heart, the pursuit of knowledge or the experience of peace. It is about weaving them together, allowing our curiosity to be a playful companion on the road of life, rather than a relentless taskmaster. It's about holding the tension of the unknown with grace. There is a simple yet profound analogy that captures this human predicament, that of a dog chasing its own tail. With boundless energy and focused intent, the dog whirls and spins, its entire being consumed by the pursuit of this furry appendage that always seems just out of reach. The chase is frantic, exhausting, and ultimately a little absurd. For if the dog, by some chance, manages to catch its tail, it often realizes two things. First, that the tail was a part of it all along, not some external prize to be won. And second, in its desperate grab, it may have only managed to bite itself, causing a moment of surprised pain. In much the same way, we humans, in our relentless chase after the answers to life, or even the experience of life as if it's something external to be captured, can find ourselves running in circles. We chase after definitive understanding, after a state of perpetual intellectual satisfaction, believing that once we grasp these elusive things, then we will finally be happy, then our existence will be validated. We pursue life as if it's an entity separate from ourselves, hiding just beyond the next question, the next insight, the next achievement. But this chase, like the dog's, can be both exhausting and self-wounding. The suffering arises from the illusion that what we seek is out there, separate from us. Just as the tail is already an integral part of the dog, the essence of life, the capacity for joy, presence, and meaning, is already intrinsically attached to us. It is woven into the fabric of our being. We do not always need to chase it with such frantic desperation. The very act of chasing can obscure the fact that we are already immersed in it. The experience of life isn't a trophy at the end of the intellectual race. It is the race, the path, the breath taken between steps. So, the profound realization dawns: we do not always need to chase. Sometimes, perhaps more often than we imagine, we just need to live, to be present to the unfolding tapestry of our existence, with all its vibrant colors, its intricate patterns, and yes, its inevitable shadows. There is an undeniable, breathtaking beauty in mystery. Not everything in this universe, or within ourselves, needs to be dissected, labeled, and filed away to be appreciated, to be sacred, to be meaningful. Can we allow ourselves to stand in awe of the unanswered, to find a certain peace not in the absence of questions, but in our ability to hold them gently, to live fully alongside them? Perhaps the answers we so desperately seek are not always factual propositions or grand, unifying theories. Perhaps they are found not in the equations, but in the experiences, in the laughter shared, in the kindness offered, in the silent wonder of a starlit night, in the courage to face adversity, in the simple act of being truly present with another soul. Perhaps happiness is not a destination reached after all the whys are silenced, but a way of traveling, a way of being, even amidst the symphony of our ongoing questions. The human paradox, our quest for answers potentially obscuring our path to happiness, is not a flaw in our design, but a fundamental characteristic of our intricate consciousness. The wisdom lies not in eradicating the questions, but in how we navigate them. We are, each of us, cartographers of our own inner worlds, charting a course through the endless whys. Let us draw those maps with bold strokes of curiosity, but let us also remember to pause, to look up from the parchment, and to marvel at the terrain we are already traversing. Embrace your inquisitive nature, for it is a gift, but ground it in the fertile soil of the present moment. Find joy not just in the pursuit, but in the being. Live fully, deeply, and courageously amidst the beautiful, profound, and often unanswered mysteries of existence. For life, in all its perplexing glory, is not a problem to be solved, but a reality to be experienced, a story to be lived, a dance to be danced. And it is already here, within you, around you, waiting simply for you to notice, to engage, and to cherish. The greatest understanding, perhaps, is the understanding that not all things need to be understood to be loved, to be lived, to be whole.